traditionals, the Michael Jacksons, the Princes, the Stevie Wonders, are giant over there. How much effect does the American music scene have on the British bands?
I don't know. I think more than anything, I mean, the best part of it, I think, is Van Halen and ZZ Top, to be honest, because there's humour starting to come into things, which is really good, which you know, everyone was all too serious before. And now there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek sort of playing going on. I mean, I think that's quite good. But apart from that, I don't think that has too much effect on us, you know.
When you first came on the scene, I was reading articles on you in Sounds and NME and Record Mirror, and they said that you guys believe in, like, psychotherapy through crying and all this, and I thought you were going to be real intense individuals. But, in fact, you're very down-to-earth. What is Mad World all about?
Mad World is taking a knock at people that all too easily write off things just by saying it's a mad world, you know, just accept anything and not even fight against it. Mad World that's what we were talking about, the fact that, you know, we shouldn't just easily write things off, just say it's a mad world, accept what's going on, you know. It was more about change. Really.
Well, we'll get into your new album and Mother's Talk and Shout in just a little while, but right now let's play Mad World, and that came out in a week that will be long remembered, I think, in British history. In the space of, I think, 24 hours, 3 records came on the English music scene, which really woke up British radio. One was UB40's So Here I Am. Another was Culture Club's Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? Right. And the third, I heard Peter Powell play on BBC Radio 1, and it was Mad World from Tears for Fears. 8:28, it's KROK. We'll have more from Kurt and Tears for Fears right after this. I think we're going to have to invite you by every morning. That way we'd save a lot of money on breakfast, Kurt.
And champagne.
Yeah. We have a lot of Kurt's fans in the parking lot. We have 4 of them in the studio. Do you want to say hi?
Hi!
And they brought champagne and donuts for you.
First thing in the morning, girl.
Oh, actually, it's not. But if anyone from the FCC is listening, I'd like to point out this is non-alcoholic champagne. This is like St. Regis, the wine. Now, you girls shouldn't have been at school today, should you, right?
No.
What school shouldn't you have been at? I think that was... All right. Glendale High.
Yeah.
Okay. And what class shouldn't you have been missing?
Mr. Tubbs Math.
Mr. Tubbs Math.
Spanish, Yogurt.
So you came by to get some albums signed, right?
Yeah. And a Valentine's gift for my sister.
And a Valentine. Did you get your signatures?
Yeah.
Right, well, get out now.
No.
So, are you surprised how popular you are here in the States?
Very small. I wasn't expecting anyone to be outside at all. I didn't know we were even known in America, you know.
Oh, yeah. There's certain cities, I'm sure, that you have key followings because...
Yeah, LA, basically.
Yeah. Well, KROK, you're very popular because of... LA because of KROK, and also on the video shows, Video 1 and Video Beat, we play your videos all the time. And in fact, Pale Shelter you did in Los Angeles.
That's right, yeah. Out of the airport and a few places in the valley.
In the valley.
For sure.
There's a scene in Pale Shelter where there's a lot of paper planes going around. I think Roland gets hit in the eye.
Cops it in the eye, yeah.
That was an unintentional boo-boo that you left in, right?
We had to stop filming for half an hour because it really got right into his eye. It really hurt.
We'll have to get that on Video 1. Now, you're here to shoot some new videos. We won't say where the locations are. What videos are you going to be shooting?
We're just doing a video for our new single, which is going to be out here soon, called Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Hell of a title, isn't it?
Is that, again, looking at the political situation, or is it looking at people in the street that think they can do better?
Yeah, it's a light-hearted version of that kind of, mad world, look at life sort of thing, yeah.
What do you think of ABC with their How to Be a Millionaire? Because in a way that's kind of the same kind of sentiments, it seems.
Yeah, I put a lot more subtle, in a lot more subtle manner, I think, yeah. It's not done that well in England, so I don't know it that well, you know.
Okay, well, ABC hasn't done that well, right?
That track hasn't done that well, no.
Now, these girls here are dying to see you live on stage, is that right?
Yeah!
All right. Now, when can we look forward to seeing TFF?
We start here the end of May and go through June and July. We're going to be doing an 8-week tour.
An 8-week tour. Do you have any kind of... do you like being live? Do you like
Yeah,
doing
I
it?
love playing live. I don't like the travelling that much, but the 1.5 hour, 2 hours a night's worth the other 22 hours because it's really enjoyable. Yeah.
All right, the crowd really,
Yeah.
the energy comes
They
across.
keep you going for the next 22 hours, before you play again.
I like to, off the cuff, shoot some names at you of British bands and see if you get your honest opinion on them. Because here in America, we look back towards England and also look at Australia and Germany, and also to the East Coast because America's such a big country and we have different ideas of bands because with them not being local and not seeing them that much, you kind of get an idealized impression. And I'd love to ask, you as an English musician, what you think of. Let's start with Blancmange.
Blancmange. I really like some of the stuff they do. So, some of the other stuff gets a bit too electronic for me. But I loved, what was that single called? Now I'm trying to remember the name.
There's Blind Vision, Living on the Ceiling.
Living on the Ceiling, that was the one, yeah. That was my favourite thing they did, yeah.
Frankie.
Frankie, I think, have done the world of good for the music business, at least in England anyway, because it really did need like a kick in the backside, so to speak, because it was all, people were going back to old disco music even.
Right.
And, even if they never have another hit, what they've done is really good, I think.
Do you think that the band is largely responsible for what they've done, or do you think Trevor Horn is largely responsible? The producer?
I don't know, I've not been in the studio with them. I think a bit of both, really. I mean, if they weren't the characters they were, it wouldn't have happened,
How about Depeche Mode?
Depeche Mode, I really respect. I really like not their newest album, the album before Construction Time again. I really like.
All right, and In Excess from Australia. Do you know anything about them?
I don't know a lot about them. I hear things about them, but I don't know them that well. No.
A band that are breaking quite big here in the States. I think eventually they're going to do it. Now we're going to go to The Big Chair, which is your album, which should be out in a month or so, right?
It's March the 11th here.
Okay, we have a single from it called Shout.
Yeah.
What was the background on this?
Shout was, we were just talking about Mad World, was the same thing, just people not accepting things blindly and just, believing what they read in the papers sort of thing. It's that kind of thing, why believe it, just because it's written down.
Okay.
And it's a protest song, shouldn't I say.
A protest song from Tears for Fears. Here's Kurt doing his Bob Dylan, right? Shout on KROK. Finishes just like that on the cart. It has to because we run out of tape on it. It's KROQ. It's 8:46. That was Tears for Fears and Shout. And in the studio with us is Kurt from Tears for Fears. And just saying that in June we can look forward to seeing you in concert.
Yeah.
Now Roland is actually back in England working on it.
Yeah, that's right. Because we take out extra musicians, we need to rehearse a new keyboard player and a new guitarist. So Roland's doing that while I come over here and do the really hard work in the sunshine.
Oh, a 6-month world tour, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And you were saying it really kind of takes it out of you to be on the road that long.
Yeah, I'll be a wreck by the end of it probably. No, I've got to take 6 months off after.
Now, you're from a small town in England, right near where I was born. I was born in Bristol, and you're from Bath, which is like about 10 miles away.
Or Bath, as we call it.
Bath.
People always laugh at me for that.
Now, how has it affected you being from like a small provincial town, real pretty country town in England?
I think it's a real advantage being from there because we don't live in London, we don't get wrapped up in the music business as such. You can get very narrow-minded living in London, and you have to sort of be very aware of trends. And living down there, we're not, so we concentrate on our music more. So I think it's really good that we live there.
Do you see the music scene once again in England kind of spreading outside of London? You've got places like Liverpool happening again with Echo and the Bunnymen, and of course Frankie. Then you've got Birmingham with General Public and UB40, and then you got Ireland with U2.
Yeah.
And then Bath with Tears for Fears. Do you see it's not just centralised anymore?
Yeah, I mean, people are realising you don't have to move to London to get on in the music business, because it's not exactly a great place to live. So now people are discovering you don't have to live there. They're staying in their hometowns and recording there. I mean, we record at home as well and everything.
Do you have a little studio at home? That
yeah,
you
we got
work
our own 24-track in Bath, well, just outside of Bath.
Well, not a little studio then. It's a big one. We'll be back with Kurt right after this. From Tears for Fears, we were talking about the towns that you live in, etc. And last week I was lucky enough to talk with Jim Kerr from Simple Minds, and he still lives in Glasgow. and he's just married Chrissy Hind from the Pretenders. And I said, what was going to happen with their relationship? You know, are they going to have to live in America or Glasgow? And he said he really wants to stay in Glasgow because he feels it keeps his feet on the ground and helps him with his writing. Do you think your writing would change if you were forced to move?
Yeah, probably. I think the best thing, I mean, when he says it keeps your feet on the ground, is the fact that because from your hometown, everyone knows you, and, you know, when you walk down the street, they don't go, wow, someone walked down the street, because you lived there all your life. And that's the best thing about it, you know, the fact that you don't get an overinflated ego living in your hometown all the time, you know.
With your writing and that, are you conscious of the British press? Because the British press seem to have a whole attitude, which is just starting here in America, of
really?
building up a band, and as soon as the band becomes successful, they have to pull them down.
Yeah. It used to really affect me, the British press. I used to get really upset by the things they wrote. But now, you know, I don't let it affect me anymore, I don't think, because there's nothing constructive criticism I can take from anyone, but the kind of criticism that they go in for is just straight for the throat and lies, basically, a lot of it. So it doesn't affect me anymore, although in the press in England, our press is starting to get better. They go through, like you say, building you up, trying to pull you down, and if they don't succeed, they start liking you again, you know, which is happening now, which is really weird.
On the back of Shout, you wrote that this was your favourite single, or your best single to date.
Yeah.
You're not frightened of going out there and saying that?
Not at all, no. I mean, yeah, what I feel about what we do, you know, I think everyone should know what I feel about what we do. And I was really pleased with Shout, and I'm really pleased with the album, you know, really pleased. And I feel really good about that, because it's rare to come out of a studio and still want to listen to a record, because you get so involved in it, you don't want to ever hear it again, you know. And I really enjoyed doing this album, and I still listen to it now, and I feel really good about it.
So when Tears for Fears take to the stage, are you going to be doing virtually the same versions of the records live, or is there a jam point of view where you kind of go, hey, you know, let's do this live, it works better live?
Let's get down to it, yeah, we changed things a bit. I mean, live is a bit different, although this new album is more akin to what we're like live than the first album. The first album's a bit different live, and this album will probably be quite similar on stage, except, you know, maybe longer versions if we're enjoying ourselves and things like that.
All right, well, we'll have more from Kurt in just a little while. Another track from the album, In a Big Chair.
Songs from the Big Chair.
Songs from the Big Chair. We'll have another track from that in just a little while, but right now let's play some Simple Minds on KROK 853.
A Rock Over London anniversary oldie from Tears for Fears. Well, 2 years ago, it became their third consecutive UK Top 10 hit, following Mad World and Change. That's Pale Shelter. Since then, they've expanded on an international level, and just the other day, Curt Smith found some time to talk to Rock Over London's Paul Cook, who asked him about some Tears for Fears history.
Well, myself and Roland first met when we were 13, when we were still at school, different schools, but we met through a mutual friend, and Roland asked me, after we'd known each other for about a month, to sing for his group, which he had going at school. He just heard me sing along to a record. And that's how it all started. We've been playing together for nearly 11 years now.
What were your musical roots then?
Then, we used to do cover versions of really hip bands like Thin Lizzy and Blue Oyster Cult. And more rock bands. We were into rock music at that age, which, I mean, as teenagers, you often are into that kind of rock music, which is where we started. Then we started getting into people like Simon and Garfunkel and folk music, and all that sort of put together. Then we went on to write our own songs.
Well, Songs from the Big Chair is your second album. Could you tell us about that?
Well, it's a progression on from the first album. We took a lot of time thinking about what we were going to do for a second album, because we really didn't want to continue the theme from The Hurting or continue that style of music particularly. We wanted to progress onwards. We were very wrapped up in technology and The Hurting, and we wanted to get away from that for a second album. We wanted to make it more earthy and more vibrant and a bit tougher. So we spent a few months off last year in the studio on our own to write some new material and basically sit back and take the time and space to be objective about things. And we did that for a few months, started recording in the summer of last year, and this is the result.
Now, talking about more personal things, what are your personal interests? What hobbies do you have?
Hobbies? I sleep a lot. I don't have lots of hobbies. Photography probably is the only hobby as such that I do pursue, because it's very rare that I get any free time, and when I do, I like to relax more than anything else. I like to go home and get away from everything, and do absolutely nothing, basically. Photography is something I enjoy doing if I've got some spare time, and it's something you can do what I can do while I'm working, on tour, candid shots, or in the studio or anywhere.
Well, the album looks like being a great success for you. What plans after that?
A month somewhere hot. We don't really have any big plans for the future because they always get changed. You know, every plan we've made before is inevitably changed to something else because of business at the time or how things are going. We plan to go make a third album, and that's as far as it goes at the moment. We don't really know what it's going to be like, because I'm sure 6 months of touring around the world will change us, you know, quite a lot in our approach to things. So we just have to wait and see, really.
Curt Smith of Tears for Fears, one of our hottest properties at the moment, as our...